European power. So we're either, House of Black and Red, or we're black and
Aquí estamos. Aquí estamos.
Homestead, an agricultural city just south of Miami, has a rich heritage shaped by its land and economy. Founded in the late 19th century, the city attracted settlers drawn to the promise of farming opportunities. Over time, Homestead became vital to South Florida's agricultural industry, producing everything from tropical fruits to vegetables. But its prosperity is marked by systemic inequalities that still affect many, especially agricultural workers whose labor remains exploited, reinforcing racial and economic disparities. Homestead's significance stretches far beyond its agricultural roots. Long before the city was founded, the Everglades were home to both the Seminole and Miccosukee tribes, each with a deep, unique connection to the land. As stewards of the Everglades, they developed intricate knowledge of its ecosystems and lived in balance with nature. But in the 19th century, the U.S. government's expansion led to violent displacement during the Seminole Wars, forcing many from their ancestral homes and into the remote, swampy interiors of the Everglades. The treatment of these tribes reveals a lasting pattern, one where the exploitation of land and marginalized communities is not just history, but a mindset rooted in today's systems of power. Despite the government's attempts to displace them, the Seminole and Miccosukee remained in the Everglades, where their deep connection to the land continues to shape its ecosystems today. The Everglades, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, plays a vital role in the region's survival. Beyond its natural beauty, it provides fresh water and protects South Florida from climate disasters like flooding and storm surges. The park is currently undergoing restoration efforts. A pivotal moment in Homestead's history came in 1992, when Hurricane Andrew, one of the most destructive storms in U.S. history, struck with catastrophic force. It devastated homes, infrastructure, and the natural landscape, exposing the deep vulnerabilities of South Florida's coastal communities to extreme weather. As climate change worsens, these disasters are becoming more frequent and severe. We spoke with Homestead residents directly impacted by Andrew, sharing their stories and how the storm shaped their lives.
Well, that's how most people describe living here. It was before Andrew, and then after Andrew.
Yeah.
Everything changed.
Yeah.
What scares me now is like 25,000 people lived here before. Now it's like 75,000. And after Andrew, it was so hard to get water, ice, food. I can't imagine triple that now. What it's going to be like should it happen again. It's going to happen again. It's inevitable. It's not
We
a
have
matter
the same road structure, so nothing's changed to be able to get stuff faster down here. It's the same exact roads. It's not going to be any easier, and 5 times the amount of people live here. I mean, we spent the entire time in our bathroom with 5 people, and most of the windows blown out, and the house 15 feet away, 20 feet away, they had one little window broke out, and everybody was in there.
You were lucky or you weren't lucky. That's how. But nobody on the block died.
No.
Everybody survived. We're all okay. And the deaths? 65 deaths? I don't find out.
No, they don't know all the migrants and workers undocumented that were in the labor camps down here. They don't have those. They don't count those.
I think that was a big part of it. That you're never going to find that answer.
Their stories don't count, and it makes the storm look worse.
So, during Andrew, about how long did it take for the city to come and turn the electricity back on or fix the power?
Oh, we were 6.5 weeks.
We were weeks.
6.5 weeks. So that's why you're saying that if that were to happen now, with double the population, it would probably be long.
Oh, that's just City of Homestead.
Yeah.
75,000. That's not including people outside the perimeter of it. You had to fend for yourself. Even today, you better make sure you've got enough for a minimum of a week. A couple of weeks if you can or more. Water, food, medicine, everything you need. You better have it on hand. So make your own preparation. Fend for yourself. Don't wait for the government to come around. They'll be here, but they will not be here in time.
6 weeks. But I'll say, even for myself and my generation, we're a lot like, we hear, oh, there's a hurricane, we're like, oh, it's fine, like, we're gonna be fine, you know, but we never really know, ever.
The oceans get warmer, strong storms get stronger.
I can't say it was really a fine experience to go through, but now looking at some of the storms that came afterwards now, yeah, of course nothing compares, you know, and every chance I get, I try to let people know when they go through a storm now, they were like, oh, this is nothing. And I'm like, okay, there's going to come a day, and just listen to what I say. The long-term effects, I think it's more mental, I think, for a lot of people. I know the saying, everything can be replaced. You can get a new home. And I'm so sorry for the people that did, lose people during that storm. Just be prepared, because, it's been 30 years and we don't know. We really don't know.
30 years later, the lessons of Andrew still echo. Today, it's not just the storms, it's the relentless heat. Rising temperatures impact everything from crop yields to planting schedules, while also worsening water shortages, putting farmers' livelihoods at risk. The same communities once devastated by the winds now face an invisible but constant threat, a climate that grows hotter and more hostile while those in power continue to look away.
Entre compañeras nos ayudamos entre nosotros mismos, porque como ahí casi no hay sombra, bueno, ahí no nos dan agua. Nosotros tenemos que llevar nuestra agua, como tenemos que protegernos, tenemos que llevar, así como usamos agua mineral y suero, es lo que usamos. Le he dado un dolor en el pecho, es el que nos hace falta, por eso queremos así, por ejemplo, sombra y agua para nuestra salud.
A lot of the threats that we face here are faced not only across the country but across the world, right? Impending climate crisis, when we're talking about extreme heat and the heat that workers face day in and day out. Last year, as an example, was the hottest year on record since we started recording. We decided to do a local campaign here in Miami-Dade County to pass protections against extreme heat for outdoor workers, the over 300,000 outdoor workers that exist in the county. And so we launched that campaign in 2021, and we got as far as a final vote in November, and that was deferred until March, and then unfortunately 6 days after its deferral, a preemption bill was filed. And so that preemption bill has now been pushed through the Florida State Legislature through their legislative session earlier this year and has now been signed by the governor.
As climate change continues to reshape Homestead's future, extreme heat has become one of the most pressing threats to its agricultural community and outdoor workers. Homestead's workers now face the dual challenge of safeguarding their health while trying to sustain their livelihoods in an environment that grows deadlier by the day. But extreme heat is only one of the many battles these workers face. In the fields and the legislature, they fight against a system designed to exploit them, where laws are crafted not to protect lives, but to maximize profits. Every effort to increase worker protections is met with resistance, as lawmakers continue to block these critical safeguards. Organizing within the agricultural community and developing grassroots leaders has become a vital part of the fight to protect workers.
HB 433 prevents any city, state, municipality in the entirety of the state from passing heat stress legislations to protect outdoor workers. So that actually prevents our campaign from actually being able to move forward. And then it also, in one of the amendments, preempts our living wage ordinance. So folks that have a living wage through county contracts will no longer have that in a couple years. So it's been detrimental. We know that there's been a rollback of rights and a continued attack towards workers in Florida.
Organizar en el sur de Estados Unidos, específicamente en Florida, es complejo. 3 años atrás cuando comenzamos, 4 años atrás cuando comenzamos en medio de la pandemia. Tuvimos que ir a las esquinas, que son en este caso eran los Home Depot, hablar con los trabajadores. En este caso estábamos buscando informarlos sobre la necesidad de que se protegieran, y es hasta vergonzoso la cantidad de robo de salarios que hay. Si usted o yo vamos a Walmart o alguna otra tienda, nuestra familia tiene hambre y nos llevamos 50 o $100 en comida, somos criminales y vamos presos. Pero diariamente aquí le roban miles de dólares a los trabajadores, las grandes empresas y otros subcontratistas, y no son criminales, no tienen consecuencia ninguna, incluso están protegidos por los políticos.
In Homestead, the grassroots organization and CFJ community partner WeCount has become a crucial advocate for the rights of outdoor laborers, especially in agriculture. Founded in 2006, WeCount emerged to address the urgent needs of immigrant workers facing exploitation, unsafe working conditions, and limited access to essential services. Their initiatives serve to raise awareness about heat-related illnesses, promote safety practices, and push for policy changes to protect workers in extreme temperatures. By empowering local workers with leadership skills and knowledge, WeCount builds solidarity and resilience within the community, striving towards a safer, more just environment for all outdoor laborers in the face of climate challenges.
WeCount in particular takes a base building as a number one strategy. We understand that we're 99% of the population that exists and works and labors, where the top 1% are the people that continue to enrich themselves on behalf of the workers. And so organizing is our number one strategy. But I think similarly, we tried doing legislative, and we're going to keep trying to do legislative campaigns to continue to expand protections, because I think for us it's not just how we protect how we protect workers with rights that already exist, but how do we expand those protections, because we know that they're not enough, right? So I think it's important to have and to be able to mobilize to a county commission meeting where you can get not just 2 or 3 workers who can speak about their stories, but a room full of workers, so that they know that they're not alone in their struggles, but that also politicians and the public also understand that this isn't a one-off issue, that this isn't an anecdote, that this is actually issues that are consistently being faced, right, by these communities.
Hace 4 años éramos 3 los que estábamos acá, los 2 co-directores y yo. La motivación realmente que me trae todos los días al trabajo es poder dar mi granito de arena en cómo cambiar esta sociedad, ¿no? Una sociedad que es injusta, donde los más que trabajan son los menos que ganan día a día y los más desprotegidos. Así que me levanto todos los días pensando, he podido tener quizás algunos privilegios, y yo quisiera que todos tuvieran los mismos, tuvieran más. Sí, para nosotros algo complejo, ¿no? En términos de que la comunicación para poder llevar una capacitación y una educación sectiva es más difícil, ¿no? Por eso es también que tenemos algunos miembros identificados que hablan man, Ixil, Cancobal u otros idiomas, y son los que nos ayudan a poder hacer esa comunicación con ellos, y poder seguir capacitando y educando a las personas. Sí, quizás nuestra membresía tiene un 60% de personas de Guatemala y descendientes mayas con diferentes dialectos. Ahora mismo nuestra mesa directiva son 9 trabajadores, y de esos 9 trabajadores representan 6 países: Perú, Colombia, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, México. Están representados en nuestra mesa directiva, y eso están representados en esta membresía.
Estamos pidiendo protección.
WeCount's grassroots strategy has created leaders like member Reina Osorio, who has become a public figure in the fight for a safer and more just work environment for migrant workers.
Yo conocí a WeCount en un momento que le digo que lo único que hacía era llorar, estaba con depresión, porque no sabía cómo salir de todas las angustias de poder tener mi trabajo. llegué en un momento que ya no sabía ni qué hacer. Y llegué, fue invitado por una amiga y vine y conocí cómo me educan para saber mi derecho, que eso que me estaban haciendo en el trabajo no estaba bien y que yo no tenía por qué hacerlo si yo no me sentía segura, que sentía que mi vida corría peligro. Yo podía decir no, eso no lo hago y sin tener miedo. Tal vez en alguno de los muchos que están podría ser uno o dos trabajos en los que tal vez sí están haciendo el cumplimiento de cuidar a sus empleados en un golpe de calor. Pero en lo que se trata de lo que yo me he educado en WeCount, es que él lucha porque nosotros como inmigrantes, con o sin papeles, tenemos nuestro derecho. Y eso es algo que nosotros no sabemos. Eso es algo que nosotros tenemos miedo a hablar en el trabajo. No, decir no es para nosotros como que ya perdimos todo. Nuestro trabajo, nuestro techo, nuestras comidas, nuestra estabilidad, pero no. La palabra no en WeCount no existe. Sí se puede, es la palabra.
WeCount's commitment to advocacy was powerfully demonstrated during the Day of the Fallen Worker protest, where the community came together to honor those who lost their lives due to a lack of basic protections, shade, water, and rest. The protest served as a stark reminder of the urgent need for safety regulations, fair labor practices, and support for all workers, transcending the boundaries of citizenship. As we stood in solidarity with outdoor workers, regardless of their legal status, we witnessed their collective fight for dignity and rights in an industry riddled with danger and exploitation.
Esta reunión del 21 de abril es en honor a esas personas que han perdido sus vidas tratando de luchar y de trabajar por sus familias. Es importante que tengamos en cuenta esto para que todos pensemos en la importancia de lo que estamos consiguiendo, de lo que estamos luchando. Queremos conseguir las protecciones de vida, queremos tener seguridad, primeros auxilios, las condiciones que una persona necesita dignamente como seres humanos.
¡El pueblo unido! ¡El pueblo unido! ¡El pueblo unido! ¡Aquí estamos!
Together, participants amplified their voices, demanding systemic change that prioritizes the health and safety of every laborer under the sun, reinforcing the truth that every worker deserves respect and protection, no matter their background. Public demonstrations such as this protest are vital for raising awareness and fostering a sense of unity among those who may often feel isolated in their struggles. By gathering in open spaces, we create an opportunity for dialogue, empowering individuals to share their experiences and building a network of support that extends beyond the event itself. This collective action not only amplifies our demands for better protections, but also serves as a platform for education and advocacy, highlighting the critical need for systemic changes in labor laws and enforcement. As we raised our voices together, we planted the seeds for future mobilization, ensuring that the fight for justice continues, echoing the urgency for respect and protections in every corner of our society.
Porque todos pagamos los taxes y todos contribuimos para el bienestar de la sociedad donde vivimos. A veces se hace como no contamos, pero sí, no tiene que contar. Porque la sociedad somos la columna vertebral que trae comida. Somos la columna vertebral de la economía. Jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. WeCount. 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 ¿Qué queremos?
Cuando yo diga el nombre, por favor repitámoslos todos para que tengamos en honor, en cuenta a esa persona que un día estuvo laborando como nosotros, pero él partió ya. Gracias, esperamos que esto haga pensar a todas aquellas personas que nuestro propósito no es en vano. Salvador García Espitia.
Salvador García Espija.
Elías Jiménez.
After reading the names of the fallen workers, the community along with organization members reconvened outside the WeCount office to eat tamales and rest after hours of making their voices heard, reinforcing the bonds of solidarity that were forged during this powerful gathering. Homestead's story goes beyond the heat and storms. It's about the forces that decide who is protected and who is left exposed. This ongoing fight for basic human rights exposes the deep flaws in the system, revealing the urgent need for solutions that don't just focus on profit, but prioritize worker safety, fair labor practices, and environmental responsibility. But the strength of this community, the resilience of its residents and workers, and the dedication of those who advocate for change show us that there is hope. Organizations like WeCount and the workers themselves remind us that this fight isn't over. It's a fight for dignity, for safety, and for a future where every worker is treated with respect. Together, they're proving that no law, no heat, no storm can silence a community united in its demand for justice. Behind every crisis is a choice made by those in power, shaping whether communities thrive or are left to struggle. These aren't just natural occurrences. They're the consequences of political decisions that have real, lasting impacts on people's lives. Every voice matters, and when united, we can hold leaders accountable for their choices. By advocating for transparency and equity, we can forge a path toward a more just society. It is essential that we remain vigilant and engaged, ensuring that the lessons of the past guide us toward a better future. The road ahead is long, but with collective action, things can and will change.
We are real live people. So I think a lot of times when you think about a community, it's just kind of like a general statement, but there are real people with real lives here who've been here for 40 plus years, 50 years, or their history dates back to literally the city. You know, I can tell you how many times I've been on a street that's flooded. So, and I mean, it's a number of streets. So that tells you that we have to do something in regards to our drainage systems, because if there were to be another, Hurricane Andrew or whatever you want to call it, what would we do? We need to have people in higher places that are representatives of all cultures, of all races, so that when conversations are being had about initiatives, when they're being had about, funding and all of these things that are, so vital to a community, there's representation for each individual that, is present, whether they're working class, whether they're middle class, whether they're, whatever economic level. But there needs to be some form of representation where these people have walked in these areas.
Bueno, lo que yo desearía ver es que nos diera un poco de descanso y que nos diera agua a toda la gente.
Que aquí en Homestead exista una oficina mucho más grande para que toda la gente que viene y que escucha, pues tengamos la oportunidad de atenderlos y así ya no estar tan incómodo, poder lograr a tener más donaciones, más becas, porque WeCount es sin fines de lucro, es de fuerza solo para nosotros, los inmigrantes, los que no tenemos, los que de verdad nos esforzamos con nuestro corazón y mente por nuestra familia.
La gente tiene poder no solamente en el voto, tiene el poder también el consumidor. Y entonces, ¿cómo podemos identificar esos consumidores que puedan hacer presión a estas grandes compañías para que tengan empleos justos y para que los salarios, las condiciones laborales sean justas, que no exista una explotación a nivel de todos los trabajadores?
I think my hope would be that we're no longer surviving and that we're all thriving and that we're all given the opportunity to live the way that we want to.
Gracias.